Mark, in this new competitive environment that Claire was talking about, how is Trinidad positioned? It must be, I know you're going through a whole process of renewing your contracts, the environment must be having a bearing on these contracts. How well positioned are we, and how can we be in a better position?
Well, I think if you look at the whole macro picture here, you will see that we have an installed base of some of the most competitive LNG plants. You have an installed base that has taken place over several decades since 1959, when W.R. Grace built the first ammonia plant in Fedchem. So it's not easy to replicate what we have in Trinidad, where you have a large machinery that is basically not fully utilized, and at the end of the day, some of the changes Clay had spoken about, such as the rise of shale gas and so on, unconventional gas, has seen the pressures on the Trinidad environment, in that some of the contracts that we are now negotiating with, we're negotiating with the downstream players who face certainly more competition as a result of technology being applied in the States and new ammonia plants and methanol plants in the US. So it's at a time where we have to navigate very carefully the molecules as well as the pricing in contracts going forward. But at the same time, there is an opportunity to kind of make use of this machinery that we have through some of the marginal fields, smaller fields, as well as some of the, I guess, some of the discussions going on across the border and things like that, Grenada and so on.
Now we sometimes think of this machinery, and Point Lisa as an example of this gleaming machinery, as an advantage. But sometimes technology actually means that legacy is a disadvantage. Think of the telecommunication companies. They may have installed lots of landlines, and now the world's moved to no landlines. So if you were running the NGC of Guyana, would you do oil and gas differently today than Trinidad has done? And if you, because partly of technology and other things, how would you do it?
Well, that's an interesting question. But if you look at a Guyana story, of course, you see 10 oil discoveries happening pretty far away from shore. That's the FPSOs and so on at work. And if you're really talking a gas story in Guyana, there's about 4 TCF, but a lot of that is used for oil lift. So in terms of technology, I mean, there is the rise also of small-scale LNG, and also the micro containers transporting gas. So would you build big pipelines from offshore, or would you sort of look at hubs in a region here and see what is beneficial for Trinidad, for Guyana in that case or not? So I think there's some work to be done, but those are some of the changes going on. If you look at Trinidad as a region, that can be an essential hub for Guyana and many other places.